Well, I had to do it. Death Wish Coffee. Saw the Super Bowl ad, probably like you did, and pretty much immediately ordered it. And I hate to admit that a Super Bowl ad had an effect on me, but it was really that I knew that people were going to want to know about this, and I was curious myself if the claims are true. Is this the world's strongest coffee? Is it going to really smack you in the face with the caffeine jitters and live up to the promise? Well, let's find out. So, what's the deal with this coffee? Well, the reason it's stronger is because it uses a blend that includes Arabica beans and Robusta beans. And the Robusta beans tend to be more caffeinated, very common in Brazil. And you can see, not that this has anything to do with the caffeine content, but normally I review coffees that are lighter roast, not too oily, but in this case, these are very dark, oily beans. The smell is almost like buttered popcorn at a movie theater. It has kind of a tint of rubberiness to it, and I can't say that it's like a bad smell. It's like you can smell it right through the box. So this came in a really nice package that I don't have on hand, but I could smell the coffee itself through the box. So it's really fragrant, not necessarily a good aroma, but it is what it is. It's kind of like they warn you on the bag or on the box. It's like, watch out, world's strongest coffee, but there's no kind of specific warning in terms of what the limit should be as to how much you consume. So far, I've only had about 1 cup at a time, but right now, as I'm doing this review, I'm on my 2nd cup, and I've only had about half of it so far. But I gotta say, like, my first time drinking this, I was definitely a little bit more jittery, and I don't know if it's a placebo effect or what, but I remember shooting some hoops, and I was like, when I released the ball, it felt different. It didn't feel fluid. It felt like rushed, and I don't know if it had something to do with just like had an extra kick of caffeine that morning, but it carried me on through the day. And I remember crashing around 3. I had to take a nap, and I don't know if it's attributed to this coffee, but it will do its job in terms of the caffeine fix. And at $22 for a pound of coffee, that's up there in price. That's more expensive than specialty coffee. Granted, you're getting more. They normally come in like a 10 to 12 ounce bag, even sometimes down to 8 ounces. But the fact that this isn't specialty coffee, it's super dark roast and doesn't really have any distinct flavors, which I'll talk about in a minute. You're really just paying for the caffeine content. And a little definitely goes a long way, so I would say that this is more suitable for a 1 cup at a time deal. Don't brew up a pot with this, because you'll really mess yourself up. And you could see that's what I did. I brewed some in the Chemex, and there's no way I'm going to get through that much coffee today. So be careful with this one, as they warn you with the skull and crossbones. Let's talk about taste. So it's definitely drinkable. I was very cautious when I brewed it. I made sure to only use a coarse grind and lower spectrum of temperature. So I used 195 degree Fahrenheit water every time, and basically tried to go as coarse as possible. And I haven't had to add milk. I've picked up a tint of dryness in some of the brews, which is a bad sign. I mean, that means that I over extracted a little bit. I also, maybe a slight bitterness here and there, so it's definitely not a coffee that everybody could drink black. But I didn't find it to taste bad. Again, a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of dryness sometimes, but overall it's, you know, it's got a nice nutty taste, and it really doesn't taste any different from your standard like French roast or dark roast coffee. But again, not a lot of complexity. This isn't something that you're gonna pick up the cherry or whatever they claim this to taste like. You're not gonna pick up a lot of complexity in the flavor. So you just would buy this for the caffeine fix. Definitely delivers in that regard. As far as where I would order it from, I ordered it from their website, and they say that that's the way to get it fresher. On the box, it had a said to drink it by like October, and right now we're in February. So, I mean, that's a very long shelf life, and most coffee is really just supposed to be consumed within a 2-week period. So there isn't really a lot of focus on freshness as far as I'm concerned. So if it were me and I were to try this, I would order it on Amazon. I think it's cheaper there, and you can take advantage of the Prime shipping too. So that definitely doesn't hurt. Would I buy this again? No. I mean, simply because I like coffee that has a lot of different flavors in it, and this is just pretty much one simple flavor throughout. It's kind of a nutty, coffee-esque, dark coffee flavor, if that gives you any sense for what it would taste like. But if you're somebody that wants to not have to rely on sugary energy drinks, and you do like your cup of coffee, but maybe you've built up so much tolerance to caffeine that it's not doing it for you, hey, give it a try. See what it does for you. I think, you know, a pound of beans could actually last you a long time, assuming that you're just brewing 1 cup at a time through something like an AeroPress. One final note about brewing, I already mentioned, you know, keeping temperatures low, keeping the grind setting coarse. I'd also really recommend using thick paper filters. Chemex is great for that because you're going to get a lot of oils and sediment. You can just see from the beans themselves that it's going to have a lot of undesirable solids in your cup. I brewed this with a French press, and I was about to try it with all that sediment left over, but I said, no, I'm going to filter this through a paper filter too. So that was kind of pointless, but it ended up making the coffee taste what I presumed to be much better than it would have. So coarse setting, low temperature, thick paper filters, and I think that this will be a fine coffee for you. But only buy it if you have a very high tolerance for caffeine and are looking for a bigger caffeine fix through your coffee. It delivers in that regard, but as far as taste and freshness, I'd pass on it. So if you like this review, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share, whatever, and I do coffee reviews like this all the time, so stay tuned for more. Thank you.